everyone. I'm Michelle Murphy, and I am super excited to be on this webinar with you today. On this webinar, you are going to learn the 3 communication mistakes that most hospitality sales professionals like you make selling to site selection professionals like me. Okay, so are you a hospitality sales professional that has leads coming in from third parties like Avery Murphy or Helms Briscoe or Conference Direct? Are you new to the hospitality industry? Perhaps you are a national sales rep. A lot of people join us from destination as destination sales representatives, and you want to learn how to stand out to third parties and site selection professionals, then this is the right webinar for you. So just to give you a heads up, I get excited. So sometimes I talk a little fast and there are some slides that I go through more quickly. It might feel sometimes like you're guzzling from a fire hose. Just feel free to put any questions that you might have as we go along in the chat. I will answer as many of them as I can. And I see we have Tammy on here with us, and Melanie, and just joined us, and Shelby, and Elena. Welcome, 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 everybody. I am delighted to have you all here. So, have any of you ever thought or said any of these out loud? There is a disconnect with communication. Everything is done via Cvent. I'm not sure all the information is being presented to their client. How do we differentiate ourselves against the competition? Are we getting everything so that we can be competitive with everyone else? My hotel and destination is unique. Is the site selection professional presenting us in the best light? I've sent the proposal and then I never hear from them again. Cricket, cricket, cricket. The workflow is difficult to predict, and that inhibits our negotiations. The decision date on the RFP said 3 weeks. 6 weeks have gone by with no communication. Cricket, cricket, cricket. How are the hotels selected to be sent the RFP? And why are so many gosh darn cities included in this search? So if you've ever thought any of these, I'm going to teach you how to stand out. But part of teaching I find that's really helpful is to understand adult learning. I have studied neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and in my studies of that, I actually refer to NLP as the sales professionals language. If any of you have heard of Tony Robbins or watched Tony Robbins on YouTube, Tony Robbins is a master NLP practitioner. And what I learned in my NLP studies is that there are 3 learning states. The first one is confusion. And what confusion simply means is that you're about to learn something new. The second one is frustration. And frustration means that you are on the verge of a breakthrough. Anybody out there feeling a little frustration with the events that have been occurring over the past couple of weeks? I know that we at Avery Murphy are experiencing some of those frustrations. The third learning state is the most interesting to me. It is overwhelm, because when overwhelm happens, you have 2 choices. What most of us do is we remove some stuff and we go back to the way things have always been. It's like, oh my gosh, too much is going on. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And whew, okay, that feels back to normal. Well, when things go back to normal, you get the same things that you've always had before. But when you're in overwhelm, you can actually lean into it and your brain will develop a new system. Some of you, depending on what's happening in your specific marketplace, might actually be feeling overwhelmed. And maybe you have a little sense of relief in understanding that you can lean into this interesting time that we find ourselves in the industry and learn to really be creative and think outside of the box. I know that sounds cliche, but there are actually a lot of opportunities in this current marketplace. In this workshop, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the 3 communication mistakes that the majority of hotel sales professionals make when speaking to site selection professionals. We are also going to talk about being ghosted, and then we are going to talk about the third parties that you actually want to get to know, okay? And I am going to invite you to an exclusive community where you can expand the list of the third parties you want to know just that much more quickly. Stick around till the end because I am going to give you access to a podcast. I am working with a sales coach right now. Her name is Ursula Menches, and she held this podcast on 4 common sales blocks. What I want to share is that I came out of the womb as a sales professional. It's a gift that I was given upon birth. And I love my craft. I go to seminars. I've hired coaches to become even more proficient at it. I read lots of books. And I was surprised when I listened to this podcast that I actually had 2 of the common sales blocks. So you might be a little surprised too when you listen to this podcast. And right now, I would like you to do me a favor, but this is actually more for you, is I want you to take this thing right here and I want you to turn it off. It's a little picture of Bailey. I want you to turn it off. I've silenced mine. I don't want anything to distract you. I want you to be fully present. In fact, when you are fully present, if you could just type in fully present into the chat, that would be great. And thank you, Tammy and Shelby, for letting me know that you can see and hear me okay. Thumbs up. So when you have shut off your emails and powered down your Facebook and you are fully present, locked and loaded, join me in the chat and just write fully present. And there we are. Talk to me in the chat. Okay, a little bit about me. So I have been in the hospitality industry, specifically in a sales role, for nearly 3 decades. The first 13 years, I was a hotel sales professional, and the past 14 years, I have been a site selection professional. When I began my career, I worked at a no-name property that I haven't mentioned here, but after that first year in the industry, I joined Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, and I worked at 3 different hotels when I was with Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, one in Phoenix, one in Detroit, and then I eventually relocated to San Diego. In San Diego, I left Wyndham and I joined Starwood when Starwood was Starwood before it got gobbled up by Marriott. And while I was with Starwood, I was with 4 different properties in the downtown San Diego marketplace. And my last hotel position, I was director of sales and marketing at Staybridge Hotels under the Intercontinental brand. And after 13 years at all of these wonderful organizations, I completed my hotel sales career and I joined Helms Briscoe in 2012. And I love my choice of being a site selection professional. And being my own business owner, because even at Helms Briscoe, I was my own business owner. We get a license / independent contractor. It's your own business. You just are under the Helms Briscoe brand. While I was with Helms Briscoe, I had a lot of clients in my portfolio were government clients, state government clients to be specific, and they required the state per diem. And the state per diem is really low. So I ended up sourcing and contracting with a fair amount of limited service properties. And back in 2012, for several years, I found myself not only explaining what Helms Briscoe was, but what site selection was. And that's when the idea for this particular webinar was born, was back when I was with Helms Briscoe. And in 2012, I completed my relationship with Helms Briscoe and I formed Avery Murphy specifically to do what it is that I am doing with you here today. So I'm going to tell you to keep this in mind for as we go through the information so that you can stand out to site selection professionals. First, I want to get you into the mindset of a site selection professional. So imagine, if you could, that when we conclude this webinar in about another 50 minutes, that you go into your boss and you say, hey, I'd like to put in my 2-week notice. Okay. And they are surprised to hear that. And you say, hey, let's just play here for a little bit. Let's say that you decide that you'd like to become an Avery Murphy rock star. Okay. And so you put in your 2-week notice, you fulfill your last 2 weeks, and you collect your final paycheck, and you start smiling and dialing. You start calling all those clients that you're like, hey, I could only put you into my hotel, or I could only put you into my destination, or I could only put you into my hotel company. But now I can help you with hotels anywhere around the world. Isn't that wonderful? And their clients are saying yes. And you are just having a bang up first 3 months. You're just hitting it hard. And oh my gosh, you have landed 10 clients in the first 3 months. Woohoo! And some of those clients, you've started to source RFPs, and within the first 3 months, you actually had a contract finalized. Woo, 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 woo! Yay! But that first contract that you have finalized is for 3 months out. So from the time you started to the time that this first contract consumes is about 6 months. And that's wonderful. Yay. That's like excellent results. And it consumes. And then after it consumes, you send the hotel the pickup report. Then you get the pickup report back. That can take a couple of days. Sometimes that takes a couple of weeks. And then once you get the pickup report, then you invoice the hotel. And then it takes the hotel about 30 to 45 days to give you a check. So if you've done the math here, you've started and you have an excellent track record and you've got tons of clients and you got things in the hopper, but you haven't seen your first monies as a 100% commission sales professional until about that 7th or 8th month. That's what that leap of faith and how much courage it takes to be a site selection professional and do your own thing. So I want you to keep that mindset as we discuss everything here. And everybody's fully present. All right. Now, that was a little bit about site selection professionals and me. Tell me about you. Are you an action taker or an order taker? Already on my mouth, I've been talking a lot. This is my 12th webinar in 2 weeks. Wow. I haven't lost my voice, but sometimes it needs a little extra moisture. So, action taker or order taker? I'm still waiting for you guys to join me in the chat, but while I do, let me share that I've done 11 of these so far. So what I get is I get some people right out of the gate. I am an action taker. Woo, 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 woo. But I also get a lot of, it's kind of 50-50 with where I'm at the hotel that I'm with in this particular marketplace, or how the marketplace has been, or with the parameters that I get. I find myself being in the position of being an order taker a lot more than I would like. So what I want to share with you is each of you received an invitation from me. You received an invitation to join me today on this webinar, and you took the action of registering for the webinar. And then you went on to take the action of clicking the link and actually being here on this webinar. And I have to congratulate each and every one of you, because my friends, you are all action takers. And, put your hand up, reach around, and give yourselves a pat on the back, woo, 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 to each and every one of you for being action takers. So I want to share with you how I have come upon all of this knowledge. And I came out of the womb with some gifts, but the human experience is interesting, right? And as I've navigated my life, both personally and professionally, I have hired personal and professional coaches. I've actually spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on personal and professional development. And I'd like to point out a couple here. Rhonda Britton, the lady in the glasses on the, I'm looking at the screen, it's the far left. She actually got an Emmy for the Starting Over House. She was my life coach for a couple of years. And then currently, as I shared, Ursula Menchez, I'm working with, she's a sales coach, and she's where I've got the red hair. And then that groovy guy, Iman. Iman is the person who helped me actually put together the funnel and the script and everything for this webinar. And the point that I really want to share with all of these coaches that I've worked with is whenever I have improved in my personal life, it has enhanced my professional life. And the inverse is true as well. Whenever I have grown professionally, it has enhanced my personal life. I can't say enough about personal and professional development. And as much as I love being a student, and trust me, I love it, I love it, I love it. It makes me leap out of bed. I have to share with you folks, if as a site selection professional, most of us are in our yoga pants, hair is in a pony. We're lucky if we put on a little mascara or some undercover. I am so excited about the teaching aspect that I have had my hair done, my makeup on, and my clothes all in my little Avery Murphy colors here, dressed and ready for you guys. 3 days this week and 3 days last week, and talk to your site selection professionals and third parties, and they'll let you know that that is a big deal. So this is what gets me out of bed at in the morning. It just makes me leap. It's teaching the Avery Murphy Rockstars. I've got two that I'd like to point out here, Annette Eckel and Christina Hake, who have been top producers here at Avery Murphy. And then we've got pictures with a couple of groups there. Those are our clients. And I love teaching our clients as well. I love teaching them things that, for instance, when you guys ask, hey, what is your budget? And they try and play coy and say, just give me the best rate, that really isn't the best practice for them, that they really should tell you what their budget is. The other thing I like to share with them is when the hotel says they're sold out, yes, they are sold out. They are not saving a handful of rooms for somebody extra special like you who has poor planning. Yes, the hotel is oversold. Yes, that happens. Just like when you're sitting in the airport and you hear that announcement. We're going to give the most recent one. It was crazy. Coo-hoo for Cocoa Puffs. They were giving away $800 to get people to relocate off of their flight when I was flying to Florida this past February. But, you know, it happens in the hotel industry. And I love educating our Avery Murphy Rockstars. I love educating our meeting planners. And I love educating hotel and destination sales professionals on how to stand out to site selection professionals. And what all of this has afforded me is my dream life. I truly am living my dream life. I take 3-week-long vacations. I'm that close to my goal, which was to take 4-week-long vacations. But by golly, I've got a couple of 3-week vacations in there. And I've traveled in exotic places, interesting places like China. Interesting at this point in time that I'm talking about that. That just occurred to me. I've also chartered boats to celebrate my mom's birthday and chartered helicopters to tour around Sedona and Hawaii. And I've been to black tie events with my sweetie. And what I want for you to get from this webinar today is how you can make all of this convert into your dream life. When you start to understand the mindset of site selection professionals, you are going to understand how you can really work smarter versus working harder, and how this education from this webinar today is going to help you increase your sales and get your sales without as much stress. So I want you to think about what it is that you would like. Do you want to be on the cover of a magazine? Do you want to have an award? Do you want to be a president's club at your organization? Do you want to Do you want to get a promotion to be director of sales? Maybe you want to be a national sales manager. Hey, again, maybe you want to be an Avery Murphy rock star. That's possible. Okay, all of what is it that you want to do? And think about that as you listen to this material so that you can really apply it. I want, as I've shared, for you to be living your dream life, both personally and professionally. But we're here on a professional webinar. So I want you to have what it is that you're looking for in your profession. I want you to get an award. I want you to be on stage. I want you to be getting your bonuses each and every month. That's what I want for you. So are you guys ready? Let's jump into the teaching points. So we're going to discuss the 3 most common communication mistakes that hospitality sales professionals make. The first one is, we are your partner. Hey, everybody, this is not true. Second one is that relationship sales is effective. Believe it or not, that's false as well. The third one is that networking and collaborating with your competition is a no-no, and that you are to avoid the competition. Not true. The fact of the matter is, none of these are true. So what is true? And I shared with you that I've been given a script and I've gotten really good, but I still reference my script when I get to these teaching points. So I'm going to move over to that right now because it's important. I don't want any of this to be missed. And while I'm doing that, I want to remind you to stick around to the end, because I am going to give you the links for the podcast to understand the 4 sales blocks. 1 or more of them may be holding you back, and a 10-minute one-on-one with me to eliminate that sales block. I'm going to do some of that NLP stuff with you. I'm going to get a little Tony Robbins on you, and I'm going to get that sales block right out of there. Knock it right out. Okay, so here it is, folks. Site selection professionals and third parties are your clients. Join me in the chat. Share with me that you are, that right in, site selection professionals are our clients. I talk a lot about adult learning, and one of the things is when you actually do something with what you're learning, it sticks into your brain a little bit more. And before I start to read from the script, I also want to share with you that I think that this is the biggest mindset shift that you can take away from this webinar. Understanding and treating site selection professionals as your clients is going to have you respond to your proposals different. It's going to have you respond to emails differently. It's going to have you leave voicemails differently. So I conducted a ton of research. Over 30 hospitality sales professionals like yourself. I did market research to understand what your deepest fears, frustrations, and concerns were in working with folks like myself. And I was surprised. It was less than a handful that really got that we are your clients. And what each and every single one of you does is you are great when it comes to site inspections and FAM trips. You're all excellent at that. This is how, and we get to learn how hospitable not only you are, but your entire team is. You do wonderful things like put a welcome sign in your lobby, and you make sure that we are introduced to your directors of sales and your general managers. You upgrade us to suites, and if you don't have a suite available, you upgrade us to a room with an incredible view. You put welcome amenities in our rooms that make us feel special. A lot of folks out there know that I am a buttery Chardonnay girl, but the best one that really made me like go, oh, wow, how did they even find that out, was the Hyatt in Orange County had Diet Squirt in my room. I don't drink it any longer. This was several years ago, but they had Diet Squirt in my room. I was like, goodness gracious, isn't that the best one? And I apologize. I seem to have plugged my phone back in from yesterday's webinar. So don't do what I did. Turn everything off and get fully present. So what happens, though, is after the site inspections, we send you the RFP, and it's like, bing, a switch gets flipped, and all of a sudden you start to refer to us as your partner. And the majority of you are guilty of this. In fact, the majority of us are guilty of this. When I was Helms Briscoe, that's what I was taught. Hotel and hospitality sales professionals are our clients. So, I'm sorry, our partners. That hospitality professionals are our partners. So, we've referred to ourselves as partners. You refer to us as partners. I don't want to play the blame game here. It's really irrelevant where it started. I'd like it to stop here. I even still catch myself as I was doing the last post for this, is to refer to you as hospitality sales professionals and not as our partners. So this is really a huge mind shift. And when you make this mind shift, all of your correspondence is going to change and your communication is going to start to stand out. I promise. Think for a moment why you're here today. Are you here because you are frustrated in working with your site selection professionals and third parties? Maybe you're here because you are frustrated in working with your hotel. We've had a couple of interesting years. Last year we had the commission disruption. This year we've got COVID-19, and sometimes how your hotels and your sales team's response, that can be frustrating. Maybe you're here because of everything that's going on and you're like, I just want a break. I know Michelle, she's going to be fun. Let me just join her for an hour and, take me away from all of what's going on. But sincerely, folks, why are you here? Keep that in mind as we continue to go through all these teaching points. So the second one, communication mistake about standing out to site selection professionals that you are going to appreciate knowing, that will have you standing out without feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you have to send out more emails or make more phone calls, is I attended last year sales and marketing networking group, and they had this gentleman speak. He was a VP from a San Diego biotech organization, and they are utilizing a new sales book for both their marketing and sales professionals, and this book is called The Challenger Sales. Now, the Challenger Sales speaks to how selling has evolved as customers' buying behaviors have changed, and with the introduction of third-party consultants. Now, the book talks about third-party consultants in the medical field, but hey, we have them here in the hospitality industry as well. I'm one of those third-party consultants. The book also states that for organizations that participate in a solutions sales model, that the gap between star performers, those getting President's Club and up, is 200% more than the masses, than all of the core performers. Those statistics just boggle my mind. So they did a lot of research to identify what makes those top performers really do well. And in that research, they identified that there are 5 types of sales professionals. The first one is the hard worker. And the hard worker is just what they sound like. The hard worker comes early, they stay late, they turn their expense reports in on time, they put all the entries into the CRM systems, they follow all the rules and all the processes that are in place. Then you have the relationship builder. The relationship builder is their clients become their friends. They're going to happy hour and they're just going to happy hour because they become friends and they're not expensing it to the hotel. They're, going to birthday parties together and all that sort of thing. The third one that they identified is the lone wolf. They're the mavericks. They beat to their own drum. They drive their bosses crazy because they're not putting anything into the CRM system, and they turn their expense reports in every 3 to 6 months and they just kill the P&L statements. But these people are crushing their numbers, and they always are making it happen for the team. And so they might get nagged on a little bit, but their bosses let them beat to their own drum because, hey, they're producing. The fourth one that they identified is the problem solver. And here's how the problem solver shows up. They decide, today I'm going to go into work and I'm going to make 20 prospecting calls. But before I do that, I'm going to check my emails, and oh my gosh, they have a client in house and there's a problem in their meetings. So they run down to banquets and they start working on it rather than picking up the phone and calling the banquet captain and saying, hey, can you resolve this? They end up being more customer relations than they really are a sales professional. And the fifth one is the challenger. Now, it's not a surprise that the challenger is the one that outperforms all of the others by over 200% because the book's called The Challenger Sale. But what I want to know is which of the other four, the hard worker, the relationship builder, the lone wolf, or the problem solver, do you think performs the least effectively? Share it with me in the chat. Is it the hard worker? Is it the relationship builder? Is it the lone wolf? Or is it the problem solver? Join me in the chat and let me know which one it is. Then kind of second and third place in there is the lone wolf. Yep, I've got problem solver, hard worker. Yep, you guys are like all the other webinars that I've done. Are you as shocked as I am to learn that it's the relationship builder? I mean, I fell out of my chair when I learned that it was the relationship builder. So what the relationship builder is promising is unlimited access to their time. The other thing that they do is they don't create the necessary tension to convert sales, because let's take what's happening in our industry right now. Your friend calls you and they say, hey, I need to cancel this because of all the other events are being canceled, and we don't want to be the people that ignore what's going on, and this is what happens. And you're like, I hear you, as a sales professional, versus, because you want to empathize and be compassionate with them, you may not go into the parts of the sales that other people do, where you start to help them come up with solutions. Now, please understand me. I am not saying that you don't continue to keep relationships, and I'm not saying that your clients cannot become your friends. They can. But if you really want to expand your sales, really consider what I'm about to share with you that has to do with the challenger profile and what they do. So what the challenger sales profile is, they are the debaters on the team. They have a deep understanding of their customers and their customers' business. They do not only debate with their external customers, like I just gave you the example, they also debate with their internal customers. So for you guys, your internal customers are your revenue manager, your director of sales, your general manager. And they do this not in an aggressive way, but in a way that causes people to think differently. The three things that the challenger sales professional concentrates on are teaching, tailoring, and taking control. Now, why this is so effective, I believe, for you here today, is that the selling of space in your hotel at a specific point in time is a complex sale. This challenger sales model is really for complex sales. And I believe that ours are complex sales, and here's why. When you get that RFP and you look at it, you have to look at the dates and you have to check to see, are you on pace, behind pace, ahead of pace over those particular dates? And then you have to look and see what's happening in the marketplace over those dates. Is there a convention going on? Is there a disruption happening in the marketplace that might be hurting you, that could be of an advantage to your client, or vice versa? There's a disruption that's happening that's to your advantage, and you can, it's going to cause more demand, and things are revenues can go up. Then you need to know who the stakeholders are and if there are a set of stakeholders. And in working with third parties and site selection professionals, you already know that there are two stakeholders. There is the site selection professional, and then there is their client. So site selection professionals like myself, the majority of us are influencers, okay? We aren't decision makers, but where we do make the decision is we are the people that are hitting the button that picks your hotel that gets sent the RFP. Many of my clients say, hey, I like these types of hotels, or this is the hotel that I really want to look at in this destination, or these are the hotels I really want to look at this destination. But they're not looking at, in San Diego, when I source on behalf of a client, I send the RFP out to 30 hotels so that I can really find out what's happening in the marketplace. I'm the person who's selecting all those other properties. And you'd be shocked at how many times my clients actually find by my doing the search results that, hey, this is a hotel I would have never considered. I have a great story about when this happened with a client of mine, and they were looking in the Los Angeles area. And every time I source the Los Angeles area, I always include LAX. I did it especially for this particular client because they had a very poor rooms to space ratio. They had 600 attendees with 10 breakouts, and they peaked out between 250 and 300 rooms on peak. And when this client got the search results, they said, okay, Michelle, I just want to tell you right now, you can throw all the LAX hotels out. I'm not going to LAX. It's an armpit. We don't have, we only have a couple of meals that we do in the course of this week-long conference, and there's not any place for them to go for lunch or dinner. And the demographic is, they're not going to, rent a bunch of cabs and go any place. Like, this isn't going to work. And long story short, we ended up citing LAX. She allowed me, this is a rare case, but because she wasn't considering it, she allowed me to pick the hotels that we did the site inspections on and that would be the short list for her in LAX. And after the site inspections, she didn't just pick LAX for one of her conferences. She ended up picking LAX for two of her conferences. So that's the power that site selection professionals have as influencers. Now, our clients, this particular client was a decision maker. Nonetheless, she still checked with her executive director to make sure that there wasn't anything that she was missing before she went to contract. Other of our clients are working with committees, and those committees, they have to make a collective and collaborative decision. Some clients have to report to a board. So as you can see, there's a set of stakeholders and all of this. And last but not least, you are selling a perishable commodity. If you only sell 50 rooms today at your hotel, let's say it's a 100-room hotel, tomorrow you cannot physically sell 150 rooms to make up for the 50 rooms you didn't sell today. You can only sell 100 rooms, and you're never going to get those 50 rooms back that didn't get consumed last night. So it's a perishable commodity, and all of this, as you can see, makes this a complex sale. So now I want to jump to how to use the Challenger sales model with your internal client as well as your external client. How to use the Challenger sale with your internal client, internal client. So when I was on the hotel side, I worked at this property, and it had in San Diego, and my market was Northern California. So the majority of my client base was state association and state government. And it was January, and my clients were looking to place their regional meetings and board meetings because my hotel, the biggest group, that the sweet spot for us was like 50 guest rooms with, maybe 70 attendees. That was the sweet spot for us because of the amount of meeting space that we had. And I was getting some inquiries, RFPs for regional meetings, board of directors, that sort of thing in January for August. And I took them to the team, the revenue team, and they were looking for rates in the mid 100s. Mind you, this was over 15 years ago. So when you hear these rates, these were 15 years old rates. And they were looking for rates in the mid 100s. And of course, I tried to get 149 because I wanted to close the business. And everybody said, oh, no, 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 no. We can't quote those kind of rates in August. It's our highest occupancy month. No, we need to quote rates in the high 100s. So I went back, I quoted the rates that I was given by the team, didn't earn any of that association business. Now, fast forward to June of that same year. Here comes the revenue manager. Michelle, can you get me any of that state government business for August? We're really behind pace. And I said, you're kidding me. We turned down rates in the 149, 159, and now you're asking me at that time the state per diem was $84? You're killing me. Next comes the director of sales. Next comes the general manager begging for the state per diem business for August because they didn't book my groups in January. Fast forward to the next January. Start getting similar RFPs. Take it to the RevMax table. Present them. They're looking for, a rate in the mid 100s. Business is increasing. Demand is increasing. So I'm asking for a 159 rate. And they get all over me. Hey, Michelle, you remember August is our best occupancy month. And I said, yes, I know really well. And do you remember that last year you turned all this business down? We didn't get any of it. You went like into the high 100s. And then in June, one by one, you guys all asked me for that state rated business. Remember that? Maybe this year we might want to get some of this mid 100 business on the books so that we don't repeat that. And they went, wow, you're right, Michelle. Yeah, go ahead. Give them a 159 rate. That's how you use the Challenger sales model with your internal clients as well as your external clients. So, adult learning, we learned some learning states about frustration, confusion, frustration, and overwhelm. Repetition is also a big thing for folks as adults to get to rewire your brains and have you think differently. So I'm going to recap here. Site selection professionals are your clients. And while I'm recapping, type for me. Site selection professionals are my client. Join me in the chat. Share that. And we just covered the Challenger sale. And I want you to take away from that how you can use and be the debater on your team with your internal clients as well as your external clients. And then I asked you to think about why you're here. Are you here because you're frustrated? Are you here because you're frustrated with folks like me? Are you here because you're frustrated with folks on your team? Or did you really just need a break? And, actually, that's okay too. So the next teaching point is collaboration will take you further and faster than avoiding your competition. So script time for me again. I just don't want to miss any of this. Ever notice how there is a McDonald's, Burger King, and Taco Bell all in the same intersection? Better yet, ever notice how there's food courts at the airport and at malls? The owners of your hotels know about this as they build or acquire hotels near other hotels. Tons of hotels downtown, tons of hotels at the airport, tons of hotels at that corporate center of whatever destination you live in. In fact, the hotel owners have started to build hotel campuses. And the two that I like to reference are the one in Sacramento, where you have a Town Place Suites, a Courtyard, and a Fairfield Inn, all sharing the same parking lot. And at one time, they were all managed by the same property, but one of them has changed management companies, which is really interesting. The other complex that I like to reference is the one in Liberty Station here in San Diego, where the owner has a Marriott and a Hilton flagged limited service property that share the same parking lot, that share the same owner. They actually even have the same sales team sell both properties, Hilton and Hyatt flags. Hotel owners understand that masterminding and working with people that are considered the competition catapults them further faster than they could ever do individually. And how I did this in my business is I was able to make my numbers each and every month. I also mastermind when I was with Helms Briscoe. I would team with other Helms Briscoe associates as I had built my book of business with state association and government clients, and it took all my time to maintain that business. So I couldn't increase my income because I didn't have enough time to get more clients. So I started teaming with other Helms Briscoe associates to free up my time so that I could prospect more. And here's the rub. All Helms Briscoe associates are competitors of one another. All Conference Direct associates are competitors of one another. It's not that Avery Murphy, Rockstars, we're all competitors of one another. It's not that Avery Murphy competes with Helms Briscoe or Helms Briscoe competes with Conference Direct. Everyone is an independent contractor. Everyone has their own business that they're running. They might be part of a brand like Avery Murphy or Helms Briscoe or Conference Direct, but they're each competitors. And we all have figured out, I am still teaming with with Conference, with Avery Murphy Associates. Wow, that was a Freudian slip. I am still teaming with Helms Briscoe Associates because I have some of them who are helping me marketing this course to you. So that leads me, we're done with masterminding. Let's move on to being ghosted. How many of you are tired of those cricket whenever you're following up on RFP via voicemail or email? What I want to share with you is to eliminate these two words. Follow up. That's right. You're not going to say follow up in an email or say follow up in a voicemail moving forward from this webinar. Now, like relationship building, I am not telling you not to follow up. Yes, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. What I want to give you right now is a script to use, because this webinar, folks, is about standing out from the competition, right? You want to stand out. If you use the words follow up, you're like everybody else out there. Here's what you want to say to your site selection professionals. How can I make you look good to your client? I'm really interested in this RFP. Tell me what I can do to make you look good to your client. Or I do excellent RFPs with clients that I've had a long-term relationship with. When I've had a long-term relationship with the client, I have all of the history. I know their hot buttons. I know what they need to see in contracts. I know what hotels are going to consider and not consider and why. And all that is reflected in my RFP. But I get a new client and they're caught up on goodness gracious, who knows what, they didn't do a custom menu, or the AV was so expensive last time, and they're so busy talking about something rather than giving me the information I need to build the RFP, that I end up spending more of my time initially when I'm bringing on clients, educating them and counseling them and helping them get to the point where I can just get enough information to send out the RFP. So that case, you don't want to just say, hey, Michelle, I need information to send you a better proposal. What you want to ask is, where are you in the selling process with this client? That lets me know that you know my mindset, right? So when you're working with great site selection professionals, you want to know where they are in the selling process with that client, and that'll help you lead to, I want to make you look good. How can I make you look good? Okay, you want to work smarter versus harder. Who wants to do that? Amen. I know I do. So my portfolio ranges between 20 and 30 clients. And those 20 and 30 clients book up to 400 meetings a year. Now, imagine that you know 10 Michelle Murphys that have portfolios like that. I'm actually going to introduce you to 8 of them here in just a little bit. Imagine that you have 10 of them, and let's take the that I have 20 clients. So that's 200 clients. You can build the right relationship with me, 10 of me, and have access to 200 clients, or you can cultivate relationships with 200 clients. What do you think is working smarter, right? So adult learning, repetition is key. 5 of you here. Great. So site selection professionals are your client. Use your sales skills with both your external clients and your internal clients. We talked about how masterminding and collaboration is great. We are no longer going to use the words follow up in our voicemails and emails. And I shared with you how much I love teaching. I do not want this hour to be the last of our time together. I'm going to extend an invitation to you. Before I do, I want to remind you we have just a few more minutes left. Stick around to the end, and I am going to give you the links for that podcast on the 4 sales blocks, as well as the 10-minute one-on-one with me to eliminate those sales blocks. Now, we have covered a lot, but there is so much more left to learn. Maybe with all of this information that we've covered, you might be feeling like this. Anybody feeling like this out there? If you feel like this, just write, "That's me," in the chat. Do everything that I want to do with you in an hour. It's just not possible. I think I shared with you, hairdressers have to go to school for a minimum of 1,500 hours before they can cut hair. Photographers have to go to school for 2 years before they can be considered a professional photographer. Things that we haven't covered here that are going to help you stand out to site selection professionals is what to do in your RFP. I talked about the mindset. I shared with you a little bit about how understanding that your client is going to make you stand out, but we can dive much deeper into that. Talked a little bit about that leap of faith that we make, but I haven't dived deep into the day in the life of a site selection professional. The biggest thing is I want to take you and share my screen with you and show you what Cvent looks like from our side. And I also want to show you what our search results look like from our side. And I want to remind you, each and every one of you here today is an action taker. You guys have been the most chatty group on the chat. I thank you so much for that. You are all action takers. So my invitation is to invite you to the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. I know where you are and I know how you feel because I've been there myself. I shared with you, I walked in hotel sales professional shoes for 13 years before I joined the site selection side. So here's the first component of the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. It's 4 live coaching sessions done via a Zoom call. And that's where we're going to dive deeper into the site selection professional's mindset. I am going to share my screen with you on Cvent and show you what it looks like. And then I'm going to share with you what search results look like when we present them to our clients. And the best thing is that you are going to apply what you have learned week 1. Yes, you're going to do some homework. Why? Because adult learning is about applying what you've learned so that it really sinks in. And this is also how you're going to develop that list. Each of these sessions are going to be recorded. So if you're thinking, hey, Michelle, I don't know that I can commit to 4 sessions because I don't know what my travel schedule's like. I don't know what site inspections might be coming up. Don't worry. They're all going to be recorded. And if you miss 1 or 2 sessions, you can always watch the recordings. And even if you attend all of the sessions, which would be phenomenal and great, you still are encouraged to watch the recordings because adult learning is all about repetition. Here's the exclusive community that I am inviting you to. It's a closed Facebook group where you will be with others who have joined the course, and the homework is going to help you guys develop this growing list of site selection professionals and knowing which ones are like myself that have big books of business and that are booking either into your destination marketplace or then they are booking into your vertical market. And this is also where you're going to be able to interact with me in between sessions. A couple of questions that people have asked on the Facebook page are, hey, Michelle, I am almost to contract and the client that I'm working with just started working with a third party. How do I handle that situation? Other questions that have come up because of the commission disruption that we found ourselves in last year is, Michelle, I work at a corporate hotel. It's corporate managed. We're one of the 7%ers. There's nothing I can do with that. I'm on the short list with other hotels that I know are 10%. I think some of them might be higher. How do I stand out in that situation? This is where you can ask me those questions. And then the fourth component, when we have 100 people go through the Hospitality Sales Masterclass, we are going to hold a live event, and the live event will include a panel of site selection professionals and role-playing exercises. And all of this is worth $1,497. I am going to throw in some fast action bonuses. As I shared with you, I have interviewed 8 people like myself, top producing site selection professionals, and their collective books of business are worth 247 clients. Those clients place 855 meetings a year, and those 855 meetings a year are worth 105 total room nights. Okay. I personally, when I was on your side, I personally would be an action taker, pull out my own credit card and pay just to get these video recordings of these folks. And then we have another bonus where we are doing an interview with a hospitality tech expert who will share what the future is for sales and technologies. And lastly, if you have any concerns about the Hospitality Sales Masterclass, I am giving a money-back guarantee, a 30-day money-back guarantee for anybody who attends and you complete at least one of the homeworks. Then I am going to, if it's not for you, then you simply email me and you get your money back. So there's no risk here, folks, no risk at all. Now, this program isn't for everyone. It's not for folks that really are order takers or afraid of looking bad. But everybody here is an action taker, and you're growth oriented and you're passionate. And I know you would like access to a qualified list of site selection professionals. And before I extend, that is going to take us to the end here. Close your eyes, please. Imagine that upon leaving this world, you are brought into a divine storehouse whose halls are lined with endless doors decorated with nameplates, and you come across one that has your name blazoned across it with stars, and your host encourages you not to look inside, but you insist. The door is unlocked, and you are greeted by ceiling-high shelves of unopened, dust-covered, dated boxes. Excitedly, you tear the lid off of one dated from just last week and discover it is a huge blessing that you never claimed. From the previous year is that huge break at work that you never asked for. From your youth is the blessing of the ideal person to share the journey of life with you, but you never asked them out. And from your childhood is the dream that you never dared to dream because it seemed too big and held too much potential for disappointment. Here they sit, unopened box after box from your lifetime, filled with blessings that you never took action about. All of this abundance belongs to you, but was never delivered because you didn't take action. Don't let this be one of those. I want you to have your dream life. I want for you to be able to grow both professionally and personally. Here is the access to the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. It is only $497. Yes, that's right. I've discounted it to $497. You have the money back guarantee. And let me know that you guys can see the Get Instant Access button to this invitation. And a reminder, the 4 live coaching sessions begin April 8th. You're going to get the recordings if you're concerned. Lifetime access to the Facebook group. VIP tickets to the live event. You will get the 8 recordings of the top producing site selection professionals, as well as the video from the tech expert. And I would love for you to join me in the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. Woo, woo! We've got someone who joined us already. That's fabulous. I'm so excited. Thank you. Okay, you guys did it. Congratulations. You made it till the end. Here is the bonus for staying to the end, the links to the podcast with regard to the 4 sales blocks, and a link to a 10-minute one-on-one with me once you've listened to the podcast and you've identified it. So thank you so much for being here with me. So thank you everybody for joining me on the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. I am not getting any questions, which is wonderful because you're all action takers. And if something comes up, you have my information. I'm going to put that there for you right there. Feel free to reach out and be groovy, everyone.